Carl. Okay. So back to the beginning of the call. It's about being relentless in 2016. And Carl was one of the first people to speak at the New Leader Conference. And he just kept saying this word, relentless, relentless, relentless. You have to keep being relentless no matter what happens. There was so much talk, and I can't wait to do each of these presentations for you guys on the call because I took a ton of notes. And it's already changed my business, only being home for like 48 hours. But Carl made a point to note that, you look at your Facebook feed and you think that everybody knows about Beachbody, or everything you've done has been done, or there's nothing new to do. It is what it is. And I can tell you from experience that I talked to every single Lyft driver when we were in California, because we had to take Lyft, and I get car sick if I don't sit in the front seat. So lucky me, I got to sit in the front seat with strangers. And I talked to every single one of them about why we were there. Only one person had heard of P90X and Insanity. It is so sparse out in California. It is ridiculous, which is ironic because that's where they're headquartered. People don't know what Beachbody is out there, which leads me to believe that the only reason we think it is so saturated that it is because 95% of our newsfeed is coaches because we all add one another. But the fact of the matter is when Carl says we haven't even started yet, it's true. We have not even started to crack the surface of what this thing can be and finding people and reaching out to people. So don't let your news feed make you think that everybody already knows or that everybody already has a coach or whatever, because not everybody does. And that's what being relentless is about. We need to put our blinders on and we need to focus on our businesses this year in 2016. So I kind of broke it down into 3 steps from the notes to help us do that. So make sure you get your pens. If not, I'm recording it. You can re-listen to it, providing it picks up my audio. I don't know. But so step 1 is to refine your thinking about your approach, your approach rather. I kind of just talked about that a little bit. With how we're thinking when we're looking at our Facebook feed. But another way we need to refine our thinking is with our customers and with each other as coaches and with our challenge groups and our posts and our blog posts or our vlogs or our like page. We always need to be considering how we can refine what you currently do. And when I think of the word refine, I think like a refinery, it's making it sparkly, it's making it amazing, it's making it as near perfection as you can get. And the funny thing about refinement is you can only refine when you recognize what? A problem. So you have to have a problem, you have to have a downfall in order to refine something. So always consider ways in how you can refine what you currently do. Did your post not get a lot of likes? Maybe you can post a different graphic next time. Did you not get as many people into the challenge group that you wanted? Maybe you can refine your inviting process. One thing Carl said is that we should be asking ourselves, how can I get people to tap into the products in a way that will change their life? Because we are not just selling a challenge pack or signing a coach or earning a commission. All of those things can be done, and they can be done in really, really substantial amounts if we focus on solving a problem for the person that we are talking to. If the people want a product, there's a bunch of different kinds of shopping. You have your mindless shopping, the ones where you don't really think that much. I would say that's kind of like going to the grocery store. Obviously, you have in mind what you want to get at the grocery store, but you just kind of go in, you grab your bananas, your apples, your peppers, might grab some spaghetti, you're not really thinking when you're doing it. Now, when you're considering other types of shopping, buying a new car, rescuing an animal, maybe sending your kid to daycare, there's a lot of thought that goes into that. You're really thinking because you have a problem that you want solved in the best way that meets your needs, right? Well, our products and what we provide is right up there with the car and the daycare. We are offering a product that has to solve a problem for them. If we do not gear it as something that will solve a current problem for them, not a baseline problem, not losing weight, not learning how to eat. We need to get to the specific root of their problem and show them and tell them that our product can fix it. That's going to bring the commission, the rank advance, the selling of the challenge pack, the success club points. We need to solve the problem for the customer. So in being relentless in 2016, we need to refine our thinking and our approach instead of how can I get them to not put off ordering for 2 weeks to how can I show that this is going to solve their problem that they have right now. Step number 2 is to give it some heart. You want to put heart in both your business and in your teams. Here's the thing, you guys. A lot of us do this as something extra, right? All of us do this as something extra. Sure, we might do it, full-time away from our jobs, or this might be part-time. But the fact of the matter is we are all somebody else besides a Beachbody coach. Some of us work with our churches. I do the volunteer stuff. Some of us are wives. Some of us are moms. Some of us are surgical technicians. We are not all just a Beachbody coach. And sometimes it's hard to do something extra when you've already done so much that day. But when you put some heart into it, especially when you put some heart into your teams, not just our immediate team and not just your immediate downline, but the bigger teams as well, that's a family for you. That makes it fun. That makes you feel like you're a part of something, which leads you to want to come back every single day. The better your network of people helping people, the more you attract people into that network. And that really stuck out to me because I was sitting there and I was kind of thinking of, and I mean, you guys know if you've been on the calls, we don't get a very large number of attendants on the calls sometimes. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. And it just got me to thinking, is this team one where we're kind of all over the place right now? Or are we a unified group of people looking to help people? And I realized we're kind of a team all over the place right now. We want to become a team of people looking to help people, people looking to solve that problem. That's what I want for this team. I used to say, I want this team to be a fun family, and I do. But there's a much bigger picture to it. We need to band together and make this our mission of helping people and solving those problems. And by utilizing each other, we can make that very easy because each one of us have experienced different setbacks or downfalls in our life, that maybe a customer is experiencing right now. And we can learn from each other if we just put it out there what we want. We need to put our blinders on and lead with what is inside of you. So I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is an area where I really struggle. I struggle very, very heavily with comparing myself to other coaches. This coach has X amount of success club points and I only have this many. This coach is running this group and I'm not running a group like that. This coach is my best friend and she's X amount of star diamond and I'm nowhere near that. We need to put our blinders on. Their business is not our business. Their heart is not our heart, and their reasons for doing this are not our reasons for doing this. I'll talk about this in another call, but real quick while we're on the topic, I think it was Bonnie Engel. She said, if you find that there is someone that you are constantly comparing yourself to as a coach, stop following them on Facebook. You don't have to unfriend them. Just stop following them. And I'll tell you, I talked to Jenna DeStefano about this because she's one of my best friends. And I kind of said, I have a couple people that I'm very good friends with that I follow, but that I find myself really comparing myself to. And I don't want to unfollow them because they're my friends, but I don't want to feel, any lack when I look at their posts internally with myself. And she said that you just got to unfollow them. So I unfollowed a couple different people today. I'll be checking in periodically, but they're no longer in my newsfeed. And I can't tell you how productive I have been today with my own to-do list. It is amazing. And maybe it's just a fluke. Maybe the moon is positioned right and I'm just in a great mood. But today was a productive Beachbody day. And I feel good about everything I did today, regardless if I sold something or I didn't. I made connections with people. I helped them. I had a damn good time doing it. And that's what I mean by we got to put our blinders on and lead with what is inside of you. Step number 3, notice when and where you are lacking and do something about it. A lot of times we're sitting here like, well, I'm not good at this, or I'm not good at that, or I haven't done this, I haven't done that, blah, 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 blah. We're very quick to criticize ourselves, right? Which is good. I mean, if you can recognize an issue that you have, that is a plus. Where it becomes a minus is if you just recognize the issue and you just accept it as an issue. Nothing has to be accepted as an issue. We can all, 1, learn from the issue, but 2, talk to each other. How can we move past this? Incorporate your team members. Reach out in a private message and just say, hey, I was wondering if I could just run something past you real quick. I've kind of been feeling this way. This is what I'm thinking of doing, good or bad, just kind of like I did with Jenna. That's what the coaching network is here for. We're not just a bunch of people who decide to do something similar with our lives. We're here as each other's support group, and it needs to be utilized because when it is, it's a beautiful thing. I have down here #BeLikeWalt. There's actually a book out there too that Carl recommended that we all read called, I think, Be Like Walt. It's something, but it's about Walt Disney. And if you know anything about Walt Disney, you'll know that Disney World and Disneyland were not his 2 only dreams. You'll also know that he was extremely poor, and that I think he was kicked out of art school because they told him he couldn't draw. Years later, hi, Mickey Mouse. But I would, I'd really have to pull out my books from school to really look at this. But I remember there was my one leadership book, and it was all about business failures and how they either overcame or how they allowed themselves to drown. And, Walt Disney was one of those companies that was highlighted in how they overcame everything. And the story is, Walt Disney had all of these ideas, and granted, he wasn't around to see any of them really come to fruition, but he was able to plan them out. So they opened up Walt Disney in California, and they opened up Walt Disney World in Florida, and they decided, well, let's open up Walt Disney World in Paris. And let me tell you, that was a flop. It did not do nearly as well as the one in the States. They were in a deficit for a very long time. I can't even remember if it's still open or not. I know there's a Walt Disney World over in Europe somewhere. But anyways, when they first tapped in that market, it was a disaster, like a disaster and a half. Do you think that stopped the Walt Disney World company from continuing forward? No. Obviously, they're putting out like 5 new movies a year or something, or you can get like their timeline of movies up to like 2022 that they're going to be cranking out. That didn't stop them at all. They just said, okay, failure, move forward. How can we learn from it? How can we make things better? They paired with Pixar to even make even greater movies and use different animation technology. They never let a failure stop them. As a company, they just continue to improve. They continue to refine their process and get better despite shortcomings. So you need to realize, because sometimes we look at ourselves and we think, well, today was just a crappy day. I'm a failure as a coach. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Realize that every day that you do a Beachbody workout, or you drink your Shakeology, or one of your customers does those things, that you are succeeding. It might not be as fast as you want. It might not be as grand as you want. But every day you take one of those steps, you are succeeding as a coach, because you are being a product of the product. You are doing what you dedicated yourself to do when you took on the role of coaching. And if any of your customers are doing those things, they are still taking that step forward on their journey every single day. And that is a success for you as their coach. And that is a success for them as your customer. So, and that being said, be your own solution and a solution for others. If you're having a problem, like I said, reach out, but you gotta be your number one. You have to be your biggest fan sometimes. You have to be your own cheerleader. And you also have to sometimes be your own mentor. I was talking to Jenna before this call, and I told her, I was like, I have had such a productive day. And I said, guess what I did? And she's like, what'd you do? And I said, well, I have my Beachbody list here, and I just found myself mindlessly scrolling Facebook. And I stopped and I said, Nicole, why are you sitting in your office? because you have work to do. You have to listen to the National Wake Up Call replay, and you have to get your February calendar done to post in your team page. Do you realize you can do those two things at once, kill two birds with one stone, check it off your list, and remain productive? There's nothing on Facebook that you need to see. Sometimes we have to give ourselves those self-talks. And sometimes our self is going to say, yeah, but there's a TV show on. But you need to look at the long-term goal. Is that TV show or that movie you want to watch, is that more important than being at home with your kid in 2 years? I don't think so. DVR that stuff and watch it on a rainy day. Give yourself a binge night if you do something awesome. But keep your eye on the goal. And if there is work to be done, do the work. Be your own solution. And through that, be a solution for others. So the good news is Beachbody wants to help us. And we found out some upcoming exciting things at New Leadership Conference that hasn't been talked about yet. As you can probably tell, our back office is kind of going through a little bit of a facelift. They've got that nice red text, and some days it works and some days it doesn't. But they are making it much easier for us to navigate. We're also going to be getting a back office app for our phone, so we no longer have to go on our phone and do teambeachbody.com when it's like this big and type everything in. There will be an app for that. There's also going to be a mobile shopping platform for our customers. And within that platform, they said when they're walking through their order, it's going to ask them if they would like to add something that goes with that order with it. So if they're getting hammer and chisel, would you like to try the performance line supplements? So it's upselling them through the process that they can choose some of these different products that either maybe we don't initially offer them or they didn't even know existed. Like a lot of people don't know that we sell vitamins. We also sell fat burners, which obviously I don't promote those, but hey, somebody might want those. And then we have our new fulfillment center for faster shipping turnaround, which is kind of ironic whenever they told us this and that I'm telling you this now, because with Winter Storm Jonas, our shipping's kind of behind, but that's a fluke, you guys. We got this new shipping center and they can ship things out a lot faster and at a lot higher quantity and mass. So those are some exciting things coming out. So my question for you is, will you run 2016 or are you going to let 2016 run you? I have a little call to action for you guys. You don't have to do it right now. I kind of want this to marinate with you a little bit. I want you to think about it overnight. Maybe do it within the next 24 hours. I'm going to post this little square in the group tomorrow, and then you can comment underneath. But I want to know, how do you plan on refining your current process in 2016? You don't have to go into long detail. Just pick one area and just tell me what you're going to do and share it with the group. I would ask if anybody has any questions, but I can't hear you. So if you have any questions, please feel free to private message me on Facebook and I will be happy to answer them. Oh, man. All right, let me stop recording.